The offseason always brings drama. But this year, the New York Mets are cranking up the suspense. After another heart-wrenching end to their season, the Mets front office has been scrambling, making moves that could shape the future of their roster. But with all the splashes they've made, one question still lingers: what about Pete Alonso? The Polar Bears' future is still up in the air. And with recent signings, the Mets' strategy has only gotten more intriguing. Can we just take a moment to appreciate the man? Pete Alonso, a homegrown Mets star, who has clobbered 226 home runs, bagged 2 home run derby titles, and been the heart of this team for years. But after the 2024 season came to a close, with the Mets finishing just shy of a playoff berth, all eyes turned to the question: what's next for Pete? As the season wrapped up and the winter meetings unfolded, Mets president of baseball operations, David Stearns, made it clear the Mets would love to bring Pete Alonso back. But those words, while filled with affection, left the future of the 4-time All-Star first baseman up in the air. Alonso's relationship with Mets fans is undeniable. He's been the face of the franchise for years. Drafted in 2016, he's been a consistent power hitter, earning a place in Mets history. But as he enters free agency, there's more than just love on the table, there's money. And big decisions on both sides. Let's break it down. Since coming into the majors, Alonso has posted incredible numbers: 226 home runs, a Rookie of the Year award, and multiple All-Star appearances. But let's not forget, this is also a guy who has struggled with consistency the past 2 seasons. His career low .212 batting average in 2023 raised some eyebrows. And his .240, .329, .459 line in 2024 left a lot to be desired. Fast forward to the offseason, and the Mets have been on a roll. They've re-signed Jesse Winker to a 1-year deal worth $7.5 million to help fill the designated hitter role. They've added A.J. Minter for the bullpen, 2 years, $22 million, and also signed superstar Juan Soto to a mind-blowing 15-year, $765 million deal. Now, as fun as those moves are, they come at a cost. The Mets' payroll is already sitting at a staggering $297 million for 2025. With the MLB's competitive balance tax threshold set at $241 million, the Mets are in the danger zone, with every extra dollar spent after $301 million facing a 60% penalty. So, what does this mean for Alonso's future? Well, while the Mets have spent big to bring in stars, including Soto, they're now at a crossroads. They've learned some tough lessons from 2023, where all the spending didn't translate into success. The Mets management has shifted strategies and seems more cautious this offseason, avoiding the top-tier free agents and making sure they don't blow their budget all at once. And yet, there's still that gap, that lingering question: will they bring Pete back? Alonso's value to the Mets is clear. He's a power bat in the middle of the lineup that can change the game in an instant. But with his age climbing and a couple of seasons with noticeable regression, the Mets might be wary of committing to a huge long-term deal. Reports say that Alonso rejected a 7-year, $158 million extension after a strong 2022 season. Then, he turned down a 3-year, $68 to $70 million offer more recently. Clearly, both sides seem to have different ideas about his value. And that's where the story gets complicated. Without Alonso, the Mets could turn to their youth to fill the gap. Could 24-year-old Mark Vientos slide over to first base? And if so, who's playing third? Brett Baty, Luis Angel Acuna, or Ronnie Mauricio? Could the Mets dip back into the free agent pool for another power bat, like Anthony Santander, who just had a career year? It's a scenario that gives the Mets flexibility but also uncertainty. While the Mets have loaded up on big names like Soto, they're still wary of paying big for long-term deals after a costly misstep in 2023. Stearns and owner Steve Cohen have made it clear they love Pete Alonso. But the Mets' philosophy may have shifted. The priority now seems to be smart spending, not just throwing money around. And that means the team has to weigh the risk of giving Alonso a massive long-term deal versus the benefits of moving forward with a younger, more versatile lineup. Is this the end of the polar bear in Flushing? Or is it just the beginning of a new chapter? It's still anyone's guess. But one thing's for sure, the Mets are keeping us on the edge of our seats. And with the team shaping up to be a serious contender, they've got a lot riding on their next moves. Don't miss a minute of the action. Like, subscribe, and ring that bell to stay updated on all things Mets. The offseason is far from over. And with every move, we're one step closer to seeing what's next for the Mets and Pete Alonso. Until next time, let's play ball. Hey baseball fans, big news coming out of Toronto. The Blue Jays have just agreed to a major deal with free agent outfielder Anthony Santander. But what does this mean for the future of Pete Alonso? With Toronto now entering luxury tax territory, it looks like Alonso's chances of landing in Toronto might be slipping away. Let's break it all down. 1. Toronto signs Anthony Santander. First things first, the Blue Jays have officially signed Anthony Santander to a 5-year deal worth $92.5 million. Santander, who was an All-Star in 2024, had an impressive season with the Baltimore Orioles, hitting .235 with 44 homers and 102 RBIs. It's a big move for the Jays, but one that could have serious implications for their pursuit of other big-name players, like Pete Alonso. Now, while Santander adds a powerful bat to the Jays lineup, this signing also pushes the team into luxury tax territory. They're now projected to have a payroll of $240 million. The seventh highest in baseball. But here's where it gets tricky. Adding Santander may make it tough for them to also sign a big-ticket player like Alonso. 2. Luxury tax and the impact on Alonso. Why does this matter for Pete Alonso? Well, the Blue Jays' payroll is now dangerously close to the luxury tax threshold. If they were to sign Alonso, they'd be at risk of triggering the second surcharge threshold, which is $40 million over the $241 million competitive balance tax, CBT. That could add a massive 42.5% surcharge on top of their payroll, making it a really expensive move. So, while Toronto could still make a run at Alonso, they would need to weigh whether they're willing to pay that hefty tax surcharge. Given that they're already stretching their payroll with this Santander deal, the chances of adding another big contract are looking slimmer. 3. Blue Jays focus on Vladimir Guerrero Jr. extension. Another big factor here is the Blue Jays' priority on locking up their own superstar, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Toronto has made it clear that they're focused on getting an extension done with the first baseman, who's set to be a free agent after the 2025 season. That's a huge priority for the Jays, as Guerrero is one of the faces of the franchise and one of the most talented young hitters in the game. If they do get a deal done with him, that could further complicate their ability to add another high-profile player like Alonso. 4. Where does this leave Pete Alonso? So, with Toronto's focus shifting towards Guerrero's extension and their newfound luxury tax situation, it's looking less likely that Pete Alonso will be heading to Canada. The Mets slugger is still one of the top free agents on the market, and teams like the New York Yankees, Chicago White Sox, and others could be in the mix to land him. That said, Alonso still has plenty of suitors out there, and Toronto could make a move if circumstances change. But for now, it looks like the Blue Jays' pursuit of Pete Alonso might be on hold. 5. What's next for the Blue Jays? So, what's next for the Blue Jays? They've locked in Santander, but are they done with big moves? Will they prioritize the Guerrero extension and further bolster their lineup? Or could there be another splashy signing on the horizon? Only time will tell, but it's clear that the Blue Jays are positioning themselves for a serious push in 2025. 6. Closing thoughts. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think the Blue Jays will still make a move for Pete Alonso? Or has that ship sailed with the Santander deal? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more baseball updates. Until next time, take care and stay tuned for all things MLB. The ongoing contract negotiations between Pete Alonso